Welcome to the Ravensbourne Architecture School's webinar. Today we're going to tell you a little bit about the School of Architecture and Interior Design and how landscape comes together to provide you with an education in which you can mold the environment. Our philosophy. Our philosophy is to bring together all strands of built form design and communication to provide the new setting for education in architecture, landscape, and interior design. We design interiors and architecture serves a purpose. We define new prototypes for the commercial world in collaboration with the industry. In fact, that's kind of key to what we do. We're focused specifically toward getting people into the world of work and making a difference. Some examples of the work that we do, and we kind of traverse a whole range of things from interiors, new large-scale architecture, even footwear. And we get consultants coming in and looking at the work of the students, employing them, and we collaborate with the industry in a myriad of ways. Well, we've created a platform to make these courses work together to be distinctive, and we believe that we are socially and commercially responsible. That means we believe that we have a social agenda to benefit society. Our mission is to provide solutions that are beneficial, enhance the economy, and help the environment, and also to teach students how to get involved in business, how to make a future for themselves. And we bring research to the world of practice to invigorate it. Our courses are dynamic, they're at the cutting edge of industry and practice. Our ideas students rehabilitate and extend existing buildings. Some of them might be like this, a new kind of environment for Alexander McQueen retail. Or this, new offices. Each time we're looking at not just the environment in terms of walls and floors, but reimagining all of those environments from every aspect. Materiality, structure, and a sense of the world. Our architecture students design the new buildings, brand new creations, new opportunities. Some of them look like this, or this. Attempt to make structures which are responsive to the world in which we live. To be interesting, to define communities. Urban landscape students design the spaces in between buildings and the things that pop up in them. They may be gardens, they may be ruins, they may be the urban landscape that you exist around you on the street. Each time, they're thinking about the integration of sustainable solutions and the enrichment of those spaces for public and private use. We focus on usability, socioeconomic empowerment, and a sense of the future. In this particular one, we even designed buildings for cows. But seriously, it's a visitor center for the countryside. But we integrate the use of all of the services to replenish the existing building, recycling rainwater in order to make a solution. We're the most diverse department of architecture in the United Kingdom, socially and culturally. It's important to us that we have a rich mix of people from all across the world. We're attempting, as you can see from this map, to make a kind of a global intervention, and our students are really keen to support that. In the first year, we learned some basic skills, how to draw, how to convert those drawings into models, and perhaps even how to see oneself within the model, how things join together, and what they express as forms, whether it be paper, cardboard, or even small pieces of plywood. But we then begin to scale these up to large-scale structures that we can test. It's almost like science on the go, sometimes with metal, and sometimes with wood cut with water jets. So we're embracing new technologies as we go through. These structures sit in the real world and are made to scale, and allows students within the first term to have created something which is real and tangible. It's almost the first step of your portfolio, and you'll only have been here for a term. Then we go abroad. We travel together, looking at new contexts, forcing ourselves to look at things in ways we had never considered before. Students look at different sorts of buildings which perhaps exist temporarily, some of which are extraordinary. But each time in the crucible, the heat of design, we're looking at new ways of imagining the potential environment you might wish to live in. So this project, interestingly enough, is given by first year and won an award. In this project, we have at the end of the first term, the skills have developed fivefold. What we have here is bar and restaurant, and each of these is looking at different aspects of that from different students. There's no house style. We're here to develop your talent, to work with you, to make you a better designer, to give you choices. In fact, that's at the heart of what we do, to leverage choice for the individual. Now, it all looks quite complicated, but after a year, this is what you can do. It looks like that. Something which is real, something tangible, but also something you can be proud of on your first step in this journey to being a designer and architect. In the second year, we look at a piece of the city. We try to remake it in terms of its cultural and its business opportunities. We work collaboratively together, sometimes messily, but sometimes the order of the things we look at really impacts on where we go. This is Germany, and this is Spain. Working abroad for short periods of time, bringing you a sense of the global impact of design. There's no one way of describing the things we see. And our student colleagues, as we call the people we work with here, our student colleagues imagine, and they have passion, and they're vibrant, and they present international panels of experts. They become accomplished, and they become confident. In the world of retail, we look at what it is you can see. What can you imagine taking place? We research the history of a site, its user groups, what they might need, how we might reinvent. The world of retail is interesting. It's vibrant, glowing, and shining. But could you imagine an environment where you could smell the essence of the design, surrounded by vegetation, pumped around a building? A building created of the sensation of smell. These are the sorts of experiments we think are important, and we also support students with the technical know-how to make them happen. At all stages of work, we have experts from a range of fields coming in to give live demonstrations as to how things are done. And we take students to sites all over London and abroad. We're keen that our students are already part of the design world before they leave. But of course, sometimes we draw and not quite so well. And then we make some extraordinary computer models. You don't have to be an artist before you arrive. Design is about thinking and expressing that thought. Here are some examples of what students have done all around the same project. Each one has their own way of looking at the world of offices and the world of work. And again, every single project is partnered by an industry specialist. So in the final year, what happens? Well, we let you loose on a major competition, an international competition. We allow you to test yourselves in the real world. We allow you to partner with names like, who knows, whatever's on your high street and beyond. Luxury brands. To bring a sense of justice, in this case, creating a series of enclosures for people who are homeless so that they can have an address from which to take their benefits. This is the sort of partnership that we think is as important as the glamorous projects you saw earlier. Mandarina Duck, doing the same sorts of things. And then to an award-winning project with the Royal Society of Arts in Baricote, redesigning a village and the products which will sustain the village. It doesn't end at the wall. But who are our students? Well, they are our greatest assets. And here are some images of what they're like. They come from all over the world. And we take them all over the world. The bottom row are some of the tutors. As you can see, they seem to be a happy bunch, but they work extremely hard and are dedicated. The structure of the course, as you can see, builds from a platform of construction and experiment, giving a direction in terms of the way in which you plan your work and your future. We're multidisciplinary, and we take on live projects. We make things for real. This one is driverless cars, commissioned by a government agency. The future of cars and what they might be like. What happens when you don't have to drive, and all you're left with is the time between leaving and your destination. So these are from second year interior and architecture students. An interesting vision of the future. Well, it's good if you're interested in doing things which are contemporary, because we are steadfastly about the contemporary world. Ford Motor Company came to see us to ask us about cars. We decided to make them in recyclable timber. Radical, but workable. These opportunities rarely are given to students in undergraduate, but we're delighted to be able to leverage those. And in this particular project, the making of an orphanage, which is going to take place on 30 acres, to bring some respite and safety to those who are less advantaged than ourselves. The AIA Charette, which is the American Institute of Architects, some of our students who took part in that. Redefining boundaries, pushing at boundaries, looking at complex situations. And they do really turn into award-winning possibilities. The makeup of our students is quite diverse, again, in terms of age and gender. And what makes us unique? Well, Paul Finch, who's the chairman of CABE, said Ravensbourne students do something different than all other schools of architecture. They bring enthusiasm, practical knowledge, future-facing experiment to the architectural scene. And this is what makes them so highly employable. We are proud of that. And he says that's why we make Ravensbourne students run the World Architecture Festival across the world. And our students have been sponsored to run that festival for the world of architecture interiors in Barcelona, in Singapore, in Berlin, and this year in Amsterdam. And we're the only school of architecture in the world who are asked to do it. Pretty interesting. And here's some more of our students in different places. This sort of experience is hard to get, and it changes the way in which you see your future career. Additionally, our staff are members of a series of organizations that represent the world of built form. We not only talk about it, we are part of it. Yes, at the forefront of our profession. But if you think interior is not decoration, if you think it's not conventional, if you want something which is different and dynamic, then we're a good choice. We believe that we're experimental, provocative, inclusive, and forward thinking. We're even interested in how robots make walls. And they make quite a good job of it, but that's the future. And we draw in a range of interesting ways. And these are some of the award-winning projects the students have produced over the years. Each one different, each one unique, and each one a response to a specific need or location. To us, that's what Ravensbourne is about. Providing the unique, as each of our students is unique. Attempting to bring the real world through external projects and learning from the smartest people on the planet, children, who help us make things like this, taking over the British Museum and making structures like that. There is a fun and joyous aspect to what we do. It's not simply hard work. It becomes part of your life. And practices from around the UK choose Ravensbourne because of this breadth of ability. Foster's, one of our students with Lord Foster himself, and another one talking about their projects. They're both employed by him. Gensler, the world's largest architectural practice. I'm sure you've seen this building in Beijing. I'm sure it was shown at the Olympics. AHMM, ADAS. The list goes on and grows. And part of that is because we are in London and we are on the doorstep of all these practices. And we make use of that. Even exhibition. So this range of things begins to set up an environment of success. And we work abroad. And those who've been here before, taken up some major roles, own their own design companies, and come back and employ graduates. Here are some of the awards. I think it's a pretty good list. It means that almost every student leaves here not with a qualification that simply says they have a degree, but says, I have done something, says, I am useful. This is the Southeast London Society of Architects. International Lighting Award, which took these students to Dubai. American Institute of Architects Award, the project you saw much earlier at the end of the first year. And this particular group is awarded annually. So what else can I tell you about Ravensbourne and the things that students get nominated for? I think it's about experiment and it's about taking the unusual, some folded paper, and turning it into something extraordinary, something which inspires. So industry-led collaborations, a whole series of those took part recently. And we've organized events and conferences and made a difference in the world. Industry talks happen twice a week at Ravensbourne. People come in from these practices and talk about their work, their vision, their passion. And here are some of the posters which go out, which are open to people from other schools of architecture who come and visit and listen and take part in those events. Yes, there are quite a few of them, but all are interesting and all are different. All begin to chart new ground through our Institute of Ideas lecture series. You can find us on Facebook. Our students exhibited around the world, so having done work, you showcase it. At the Venice Biennale this year, there's an exhibition which will be up until November. We'll be exhibiting in Madrid. And here's Venice. And here we have the invitation to this year's exhibition. Please join us. I think you'll find it an interesting experiment. The staff. Well, interesting range of practitioners producing work which is challenging is at the forefront of experiment. Some of these you may recognize. And all of our staff are constantly in the world of work. So they're bringing you the most up-to-date and happening information. Uncertainty. We try to embrace risk. It's a real important part of being a designer. We try to collaborate and look for opportunities and future partners. The practicality of rebuilding a nation and the need for architects and designers has never been greater. We have plans. The world is changing, and we and our students are changing. That's Ravensbourne University. I hope you found that interesting. If you have any questions, please join us on the web link and we'll answer them straight away. In the meantime, I'll show you a short video of what it's like to be at Ravensbourne as a student.
Staying in shape is important. Here are a couple things you can do to stay in shape. Well, this part's going to work your gluteus and vertebrae muscles. These are extremely important
Oh, thank you for those questions. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. That's what students look like when they go on tour around the world. In terms of typical class size, we have an intake which is about, I don't know, let's say 60 or 70 students divided into groups of 25. And so that's the nature of delivery at Ravensbourne. It's the way it's our funding model. So you get a lot of personal attention throughout any week. So each of the groups works together in a large series of spaces, and the tutors circulate amongst those, providing group seminars and then a series of individual tutorials. We call it the 5-point plan. We present, we get feedback from you, and we begin to identify the areas of interest as seminar groups, and that's repeated during the week. What should you include in your portfolio? It's a difficult thing to define. It's about creativity and showing your interest. If you're interested in photography and you take pictures of buildings, do you have a critical eye? What is it that your photographs are trying to illustrate? If you make models, what sort of structures are they? Or you draw? Are you making things sense of environments? Are you making sense of texture and color of material? That's sort of the things we're looking for. So the final major projects have a social and a commercial emphasis. Amongst this year's projects, there have been the rehabilitation of existing baths in London, which have been turned into a wellness centre alongside a hotel which supports that business. And the students have learned how to make an assessment of what that can do and impact on the community, alongside the detailed construction of those projects. And all of our projects look at those things, and they're all individual. There is no set project given. The student generates that project. That strength of character and knowledge is embedded in the first and second year. Can you do a work placement? Yes, you can. We don't arrange specific work placements, but we do have an agency at Ravensbourne which brings all of the applications in from companies, and companies do come to us and ask us if people want to work. Not everybody wants to do them, but we actively encourage that, especially between the second and third year. Thank you very much for your questions. I hope my answers were helpful. And now we're finished. But if you want to learn more about Ravensbourne, please go to our website or ring our help desk. Thank you very much. Goodbye.